So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. Coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. They'll be calling me, calling me.
What's going on, folks? Will Stewart here with another late night CHFCRants show. I'm wearing the glasses right now because this is I didn't do the watch along today because I slept in. But this is my fourth show of the night so far today, and these lights, I don't know if you can see them. You can see them right there in my glasses. Start giving me a headache after a while because they are bright, and this room gets a little bit warm. To be honest with you, it gets a little bit warm, so I'm gonna wear the glasses, not because I'm a dick, but I am a dick, but because it takes the these particular ones have a blue light blocker in them, so it helps relieve a little bit of the eye strain. Plus, I do want to be a little bit catty tonight, so we're here. 4-1. We win them, we knock them down. 4-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today. And this is more of a, rather than Newcastle, because to be honest with you, although I think Newcastle could have played better, I didn't think that they played badly. But I do think that they could have done a little bit better. And but this is more of a go at the fans from other clubs that like to take shots at Tottenham Hotspur. I want to ask them, right? I want to ask you. Let me ask my baby. Baby, what happened when the last time you played Newcastle? Oh, it's okay, baby. Don't cry. I know you lost. I know you lost to Villa today as well. It's all right. It's okay. It'll be all right, baby. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Also, too, to the Spurs fans, it said that this man right here, the Korean King, Sonaldo, Son Heung Messi, Son Perion, right? All the nicknames and expressions that's ever given this gentleman. You guys said he was done. He was finished on the wing. That's you. You got to hold that. You got to own that, right? Expect it from rivals, not from our own fan base, right? And this is what he's telling all of you right now. Shut your mouths. Shut your mouths. All the people that said Pedro Porro can't defend. Well, today, it's on performances, not overall, not over time, but this season, Pedro Porro surpasses Kieran Trippier as the best performing right back in the league this season. Hold that, Spurs fans. I'm talking Spurs fans here. Right, you guys got to stop crapping all over our players, and all the people that crapped on Ange Postecoglou said that he couldn't get it right, he couldn't do what he had to do. Scott I'm looking at you. Hold that. Hold it. But I'm just saying, because you could see the progression every week. I've been saying it. People have been telling me I'm dumb. People have been telling me I'm stupid. People have been saying all kinds of things, but you could see it. Wolves game, right? Improvement at Villa. Improvement at City. Improvement at West Ham. Even though we weren't getting results, there was an improvement week after week after week in the performance, which led to this game today. Yes, Scott, progression. Scott, I really want Scott to come on the show to explain his agenda. Like, what's the logic in behind it? Other than like some weird pent up frustration against it. I want to know. Right? Because I don't like to just simply banter people in their opinions. I want to dive deep into your thought process and why you consider Ange Postecoglou to be shit. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But let's take a look at the chat. Say hello to the lovers and the haters in the chat here. We got Nita's in the house. Big up Nita. 4-1 Simples. Today a fact. Come on, you Spurs. And then he says, crazy to think Scott Adams in the house. Crazy to think that some are trying to put others as man of the match, not Son. No, nobody but Son was man of the match today. Not a great game, but always. How is today not a great game? How can any Spurs fan watch the game today and say this is not a great game. Like, I want to know. I really want to know. I really want to know why today was not a great game. Dominated possession. 7 big chances created. 4 of those big chances put away. I don't understand why this is not a great game. I don't get it. Adrian's in the house as well as the back. We'll be bringing guests in here shortly. Big up. Good evening, all. We got Grammy Williams. LO Spurs fans are so desperate. Beating 4-1 Newcastle. Aim for everyone. Like smashing West Ham. 5-0 aim for everyone. All right. Well, beating Fulham at home. Aim for everyone. What other results have you guys dropped? You know, is what it is. Right. Keeping a clean sheet against Luton Town's not for everyone. Come on now. Don't be salty. Don't be salty because you're about to watch your team drop down the table like a sack of rocks. It's all right. Jay Park's in the house. A complete performance from our captain, Son Heung-min, throwing dimes and being a leader. Look, assisting it. Look, Son put on a clinic today, absolutely showing those people, showing our youngsters how to play left wing, right? Showing Brandon Johnson, showing Kulusevski, showing Manor Solomon, showing all of them how to play left wing. Son put on a clinic today. There's the link. Click on the link and jump on the show. For you guys, it'll be pinned right here below the screen if you're on your mobile devices. So I think it's over here somewhere if you're watching on your computer. Click the link, join the show. Come on and have your say. Skull X is in the house. Big up, my man. What's going on? Good to see you. Moon Lover. Thought Peril was superb, a counter to other what YouTubers saying the other way. Look, I don't know what people's agendas with Pedro Porro is this season, but he's been absolutely sensational for me. Right? Pocketed Doku and Jack Grealish. Right? Good, perfect performance again today. Couldn't do a thing wrong. And that pass, man, that pass to Richarlison. He did it for Son a couple of games back. There are not many right backs in the league from that range that can make that diagonal pass and put it right on a dime. Richarlison had a heavy touch on it, but luckily he recovered and put it in the back of the net. But the ball in was a thing of beauty. Thing of beauty from Pedro Porro. 5th assist of the season so far. Yeah, it's amazing. He's an amazing player. Glad we got him. We got Elias is in the house. I'm not reading dumb jokes. Who else we got? Shamu, long time no see, my man. Hope you're doing well. Stoked for your boy son. Will bring back Perisic, RIP. Definitely don't need to want to bring back Perisic. Slayer's in the house. Big up, Will. Big up yourself, man. Edward Talks. Hello to my favorite American. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. LA 007's in the house. All right, guys, what's going on? Donna Collin in the house. What's going on, Mr. William? You're rocking as always. Reminds me of my youthful days. Yeah, well, you can't go back in time. Although I'm not as youthful. I haven't shaved. I need to shave. I'm looking a bit rough. My son was a bit sick last night, and I was up late with him last night. It's one of the reasons why I slept in, so didn't get to prepare myself today. Been busy. I've been like streaming back to back all day long. It's a busy day. We got Alejandro Perez in the house, channel member. If you do want to hit that, for people that aren't knowing, they got a new feature now. If you're watching on your phone, if you hit that $ down there where you do super chats, you can get it'll give you the option to sign up for a membership as well if you want to. So that's a way you can do it without having to leave the show or do anything and stuff. Join a member. We got starting at 99 cents a month. We got the Levy level. All of that goes to help support the channel and for us to do what we do every single week in, week out. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but we appreciate all the support, love, and all that stuff. Kim K's in the house. Big up, Kim K. Where the Sun haters at now, I don't know where they're at. He showed his masterclass for his students. Exactly right. I just said that. Big up. I'm glad, smart people think alike. Ron Vignac in the house. Soon become, I don't know what that means. No, Son becomes the 7th player in Premier League history to score 10 consecutive goals for 8 seasons running. Wow. Didn't know that, but that is true. That is true. What else we got? Who else we got here? We got Francis is in the house. Big up. Still buzzing. Great game. Absolutely great game. We got Bring a Big Boy with a nice picture of Stella there cooking. Big up, Will. We lose those silly errors, but if we won't make errors, we're more like a hungry players to win. Yeah, the errors in the last couple games have killed us. Simon Davies, big up. Evening, Will. Awesome win today. Hold that, Magpies. Philly NYC, big up. Who else we got? American Toff. How can anyone say this wasn't an awesome game? I don't know, man. Even Davies had his best play as a Spurs player. Yeah, I think Ben Davies was. I don't think there was anybody that was poor today. I can't think of anyone who was bad today. I thought the whole team as a whole performed well throughout the entire. Like maybe when Newcastle got their late goal, I mean we kind of shut down for a second. But at that point the damage is already done. Cold shot, big up my man, big up yourself. Let me know what your center of the day is, and we'll talk about that. Alexander Castro's in the house as well. Big up. We didn't create much. Scott, we had 7 big chances. 7 big chances. Not just chances. 7 big chances. Sportsman74. Big up, Will. Big yourself up as well. All right. And we got Todd Spurs, another channel member in the house. Big up. Great result today. Come on, you Spurs. All that great stuff. Let's start bringing in guests in from the back. Nope, not at all. Not worried about Romero at all. Let's start bringing in the guests from the back. First guest of the night. Big him up for coming on. You know, nobody hides here. And he's not a hider. He's going to come on and have a good chat with us. From the great state. The great show me state. Good friend of the channel. Good friend of mine. We got Chris here from Top FC TV. The American Magpie. Newcastle fan is here for us. We're glad to have him here. What did you think of the game? What were your thoughts of the game? Like, we were on a couple shows today together. I think maybe one.
One. Football terrace.
We were on football terrace together for a little bit, but to be honest, that was a little bit weird of a conversation. Didn't really get deep into the football as I wanted to. What were your thoughts on the game, and how did you see Newcastle's performance?
Well, it was bad. It was horrible. I mean, it was just a really bad performance. All these players play really bad, but also Spurs play, to me, well, because they finished the plays, they played their best match all season, I think. And I think that was the one thing that was missing, you know, the goals for Spurs. And for Newcastle, nothing worked. I mean, the whole back line, the whole defensive line was just shit. 6 points or less. So you're not going to tie a game like that. Imagine winning one. So, but Spurs, big up the Spurs, man. They got the job done. This was a must-win for both teams, and Spurs took it serious. Newcastle was just out there chilling, you know, and yeah, cost you the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like this was the second highest scoreline we've had since the Burnley game. So both games we won by 4 or 3 goals, and right. We scored 5 in that one, but it was 5-2, and then this one 4-1. So same goal difference. But I think you're right. Like for me, and this is a thing that I was talking about. And you've been on a couple shows with me this week and in the weeks prior, and when you know we were getting pounded and cooked and all this stuff for all these things. Like even Mo's telling us, so you know, if we lost today, Spurs fans need to say "Ange out."
Stupid, man.
I think for me, the thing that I saw from watching the game with my eyes, right, with my eyeballs. You can't see him tonight because I'm not kidding. I have a stress headache. So to switch to this hat because it's a bit looser.
You gotta get some of these glasses, man. They take away the strain from looking at the screen all day.
I've got some, but I need to get the lenses changed. Like I bought the frames. These are clear ones here.
Take away the blue light. Always block the blue light.
Yeah, but I want to get I need to get reading glasses because I'm getting old. I've gotten that. What is that? What do they call it? You get like age-induced farsightedness or something like that. So I'm having to hold my phone out. But after a while, man, looking at this, especially this computer screen and these white lights that are hitting me at like 500K all day, it gives me a headache. And the headphones put the pressure on my head.
I've been trying to not use these lights, man, but you can't. If not,
you have to. Yeah. When you're a creator, it's one of the things you got to do. Yeah. And but yeah, it's
One thing I will say though, about Spurs, if this it depends how you take this, because I know this is Spurs channel, so they might kill me on this one. But if Son doesn't play, then you have a problem. And I know that's like, well, duh, he's the best player. I get that. But he was probably involved with every goal for Spurs, if I'm not mistaken. And then, you know what I mean?
Bar the Pedro Porro one, I think. Other than that, yeah, okay. I think you're right. If not the assister, he was the assist to the assister, right? So
yeah, or the one that created the play. I mean, to me, I'm not going to allow what you just said about Porro being better than Trippier. That's not true. So stop lying to yourself and to the public. You have an obligation to say somewhat the truth, and you can't be lying to people like that. You're going to get sued. So Trippier is better than Porro. I will say that Porro is a really good player that most people didn't catch on, like Vicario. And so he's really great, but Trippier is better. Now I'm the one that told everybody that Trippier's not going to have a back-to-back bat performance. Well, I was wrong, but come on, he's not better than Trippier. Let's be honest.
So I would say that Trippier's been better over time, right? But I'm strictly talking performances this season so far, game week 16 or whatever game week we're in. According to SofaScore, FotMob, Who Scored, Flash Score, whatever statistical rating site you enjoy, Kieran Trippier has been higher than Pedro Porro for up until every week until this week. Like they've always been. Trippier was 1, Porro was 2. And it's been that consistent all season. With the last 2 performances for Trippier and these past 2 performances for Pedro Porro, he's gotten 8 point somethings in the last 2 games, and so they've shifted for the time being right now. So I gotta throw that in there, especially because of the amount of crap. And the only reason why I bring it up is I think Kieran Trippier over time is a better right back. I mean, Pedro Porro is only his what? He hasn't even had a full season in the league yet.
Yeah.
So still yet to be seen. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably better over time as well. But I'm specifically talking about performances so far this season. And who's right now the current champion. It could swing back the other way next week. Yeah. You never know. That's the great thing about these things is they change every week.
He's been playing terrific though. Yeah, I mean,
but a lot of our fan base has been slandering him for this entire season.
What is up with Spurs and Arsenal fans? Ironically, you guys have the most divided fan base in the history of fan base. Like half of you want Ange out or want Arteta out, and I'm sure you agree with that. But I'm saying like fans on Twitter, Spurs fans, they still want Ange out, or others that praise him that overpraise him. So there's no balance, man. I don't understand.
It's knee jerk, right? And you got players, you have fans that don't like Levy, and you got fans that like Levy, and you got fans that don't like these players, and But the funniest thing about our fan base that I've noticed that I fight all the time, and I fight this with the Pedro Porro. There's 3 guys. Like people think that I was only doing it for Son because I have some kind of Son agenda. Well, no, I did it because you have literally the best finisher in world football, right? And I'm talking about conversion rate here, right? And our fan base completely slacks him off. And they say he's lost his legs, and yet he's still running. He's still one of the top 3 fastest players on the team, still one of the fastest left wingers in the league, even at the age of 31. And you're going to say his legs are gone. He can't do nothing. He can't create. But even when he played in the first 3 games of the season, he was averaging more key passes per game than Madison was at the time. He had at that time in the first 3 weeks of the season when he was playing out on the left, the most key passes of any player in the league.
Right.
So, and you saw it today, the amount of chances that he created out there playing on the left. The difference between then and now is today the chances got finished. Only difference in his performances from the first 3 games of the season to today was that the chances he created got finished. That's it.
But actually, and we brought it up earlier as well on the football terrace. I will say though, to me, and we just won't never know the truth because we're not in the locker room. But when they came out in the second half, you can see an adjustment to this ongoing vertical football that we've been used to by Spurs this season.
Link is pinned to the top of the chat, my man.
Is a little bit of a holdback to see, because in the second half you can tell, and I could have told you that Newcastle with whatever gas they got left, they're going to try to push forward. And so you didn't want them to take advantage of those spaces. And so what Spurs did was hold back to see how Newcastle comes out of the shoot in the second half. And after that, Spurs took advantage of the spaces that Newcastle was leaving. And that's when the third goal comes on, and it's match is over then. So I think that was a good adjustment. And the second adjustment it's easy, but it's not easy at the same time, is to put Son on the left wing, because he's been playing in the middle, and even though he's a tremendous, to me, underrated finisher, one of the best finishers in the league, you still are missing a lot of creativity with him in the middle. So when you put him on the left side, and he's going to create as many places as he can. Now, Richarlison, he's going to push him in or not, but ultimately, those plays are going to come. And fortunately for you guys, Richarlison was on point. However, I wouldn't put my money on it that he's going to be like that next match.
No, I don't think it's going to continue. I mean, the Sun goal that he got was put on a plate for him. I thought it was, and he almost messed up the one that Pedro Porro sent him, right? But the one Sun created for him, like if you miss that, like somebody might as well cut his kneecaps off, right? Like I mean, it just retired him right then and put him out the pasture, because that was almost, because the keeper kind of came out to try to block the angle from Sun. It was pretty much, he had 75% of the goal was just completely and utterly wide open for him. Like if you can't put that in the back of the net, you shouldn't be playing football. But I do have to bring some more guests in, because we're starting to get a crowd in the back. So let's bring in the next guest. And when I'm bringing you guys in, there's 4 of you in the back. I'm gonna bring you in with a soundtrack, and then we'll start having a conversation. All right? Because I want to get all of you in onto the stage as fast as possible. So next person staying up late with us tonight from the, let's see. From the UK, we got him in here. He's on for the first time, or not for the first time, but he's on for the first time in a while, I guess you could say. But welcome back, man. Like Adrian's in the house. Big up, Adrian. How you doing today?
Fine, thank you, Will. Thank you for the invite. Very enjoyable game. I was at the stadium today. The atmosphere started to rock after we got the first goal. Our fans started to bit tense, but then it was good from then on, so it was really good. Yeah, I was particularly pleased. I mean, especially for the performances of 4 players that haven't been at their best recently. Davies, Bissouma, Johnson. I thought Johnson's had his best game in a Spurs shirt today.
Who's okay? Yeah, who's good.
Yeah,
but I don't mean to cut you off, but hold it, because I got to bring these guys in. We're gonna bring these guys. We're gonna jump some more people in. I don't know why this guy's wearing sunglasses. He hasn't been on streams all day, but he's here.
Bless.
Oh my God, this guy.
I just want to say that beating 4-1 for Newcastle ain't for everyone.
All right, big deal. Next guy in. He's been on the channel before, but it's been a long time. Let's bring him on. We've got Mr. Alex THFC, but not the one you're thinking about. It's not Mr. Box Office. Big up, Alex. What's going on?
Hello. You all right, guys?
Good.
There we go. That's better.
And now, hope that's the wrong voice.
Now, I'm not going to go into a long talk, but you know who it is. In the chat, show your love. For the Dark Knight, C-Cubed is in the house.
Hey guys.
Hi,
Come on, you
C-Cubed.
Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs, C-Cubed. Yeah,
We needed that win.
we did. We much needed 3 points, definitely.
Yes, we did. So, Spurs fans, we got 4 Spurs fans, 1 Newcastle fan here today. Alex, you said you had something you want to jump in quick and say, so we're going to let you go first, and then we'll go around the room. But you're welcome to stay on tonight as long as you like. But I don't know if you're in a hurry, if you're in a rush, or if you got work in the morning or whatnot. But we'll let you go ahead and go first, and then because I know these other 3 people that are on here, plus Chris here, our friend from Newcastle, will be on for a while. So we'll let you have the floor first.
All right. No, thank you for letting me join, mate. I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime.
welcome to everyone that's watching right now. I'm very happy. I was at the game today, season ticket holder for many years, and we needed a result like this so badly. After the last run of results, we've lost 4 of the last 5, I think it was. We've not had a home win since Fulham, 23rd of October. It was a very long time coming, and it was so important to keep that same consistency from the first half into the second half, and we kept that, and that's the reason why we scored 4 goals today. If only we could have continued that on Thursday night against West Ham, we would have got all 3 points, but it is what it is. We move on from that, and Ange is the real deal, mate. He's a top quality manager. You got to back the guy. He's the best manager we've had since Pochettino. Levy has got to back this guy in January. He just has to. It's a must. It's not a question. It's a must. Madison's not back until February. You've got to be getting another attacking midfielder in for us. You've got to be getting another striker in. You have to get another centre back in. Van der Ven's not back until mid-January. We can't be taking these risks anymore. The squad depth is pretty thin. Starting 11, second to none. Very strong starting 11. This starting 11 can compete for the league with Man City and Arsenal. It really can, but you don't win league titles with your starting 11. It's your squad depth, and unfortunately we don't have that. So we could. It's not Rome was not built in one day, and I didn't expect everything to get signed in one window in the summer. And I know how hard it is to bring players in January, but he really has to get players in January. He has to. It's a must. If we were a serious football club, you go all in and get Tony in January. But I don't know if we're that serious. We know what Levy's like. We'll get a couple loans in, loan with option to buy, not obligation to buy. You've got to get transfers in, mate. You have to. This club deserves so much better. We've got such a very loyal fan base. The fans stick through thick and thin. I'd probably say we've got one of the best fans in the league without being biased. Our away support is very good. And us fans, we deserve so much better. I've been going to Spurs for so many years. Since I was 6 years old, I've had a season ticket. I'm 28 years old now. I just want to see a bit of success on the pitch. You know what I mean? The last trophy I saw was in 2008, the League Cup final against Chelsea. So I really hope Levy does not mess us up this time, because I think this manager has got the potential to take this football club to places and get us back on the map and bring that success that we deserve at this football club. Get the FA Cups back in, challenge for the title, just like we did under Bill Nick, the legendary Bill Nick. And hopefully we can see these glory days back at the Lane one day. And I hope all you lot agree with me.
Yeah, for sure. And let me ask you a question, Alex. You have a YouTube channel too, right? Is that you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
you do like live match reactions, stuff like that.
I used to do match day vlogs. Yeah.
You're a pretty big channel too. I remember I used to watch a lot of your
yeah, it's
your
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, I only got 1K subs, but I hit over 1 million channel views. But yeah, I stopped posting since of last year because it got pretty toxic under Conte. But I might start uploading again now. Things are good under Postecoglou.
Twist it back up again.
I disagree with the fact that you said that our best 11 could compete for the league. I don't believe that. The only reason I wish it was true, but the reason I don't agree is because apart from Burnley away, whatever permutation Angie's done of our front three hasn't clicked. Our front three has always looked disjointed. And even today, don't get me wrong, I was at the stadium. I loved the result. I loved the atmosphere. It was fantastic, right? So that's good. And I'm on a high, like all Spurs fans should be, because if you can't enjoy the moment, then what you watching for, So, but I just don't think that. No, we're way off. I mean,
I don't think we're that far off, though, Adrian. I think the reason why, cause I think I agree with you that the front threes look disjointed, but that's because I think we really, and this is why I say that we've only been playing with 10 players this season, right? Because we're missing a left winger, right, of quality that can really affect games.
Exactly.
And like Chris and I were talking about at the beginning of the show, really the only difference between performances between Villa and West Ham and today was that we finished our chances, and in those games we didn't. That's really the only difference when you're looking at chances created. Although today we had a lot more big chances created than we did in some of those other games. But that's because, and you really saw it when Kulusevski moved into midfield against Man City, and we ended up getting a draw 3-3, right? And then not going with that again against Aston Villa, I think was a mistake from Postecoglou. If he would have done that, if Kulusevski had played as in that Madison role-esque type of a deal that whole game, I think we probably end up winning that game, personally. But so I think that they're there, and if we when he means starting 11, I think he means because in the first, what he says, you have to acknowledge at some point, because for the first 10 weeks of the season, we were our first 11 was competing with Manchester City and Arsenal for the league. We were top of the table with a 5-point cushion.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for that 5-point cushion, we'd be sitting in 8th right now. Right?
Yeah, on the left,
lower.
the time that my attention was drawn to Solomon was the away game at Burnley, because actually he was a winger that actually gave us 2 assists in that game.
Yeah, and how did he give us those assists? Right, because if you look at Son's assists today, the reason why I say Son put on a clinic for our other wingers is because what Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski don't do is drive to the byline and cut the ball back. Son did it twice today, and he got 2 assists from it, twice. And the thing that Solomon did in that game against Burnley was drive and play cutback. Both passes to Son were cutback passes to Son, and Son's been waiting for that. He's there. He's in those positions. Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski simply failed to find him.
That showed to me that Solomon, at least, he's not one of these head down, pacey wingers that goes streaking down the pitch like a Traore, like doesn't look and just hits a hopeful cross into the box. I mean, that's not the sort of winger I'd like. You know, I like wingers with vision. This is why I've got so much time for Kulusevski. I know Spurs fan base are a bit indifferent towards him, you know, but I really like him. I think he's an elegant player. He's only 23, and I think he'll get even better. So I was pleased with that. I was pleased with Johnson today, because I thought Brennan Johnson had his best game for Spurs that I've seen. Because I did doubt him when he came. I thought, who is this kid that we paid all this money for? So more pleased from Johnson. You know, Davis, great tackle in the early minutes of that game. Just to
Davies played
well. That ball, because otherwise that would have been Newcastle 1. We'd have probably lost that game then, like, you know. And Porro's cross for the like. When Richarlison scores, I don't know if it's through luck or skill, to be honest with you. I think
Porro was so good today. His crossing was unbelievable. That cross for the Richarlison goal. What a fucking cross, man. What a ball.
It was a mere image of the ball he played to Son against Man City.
When Son got the penalty as well, that was a great ball from Porro as well, wasn't it? It was Porro, wasn't that, for that?
Yeah, but there was so many positives. So was Sarr. I mean, the kid's 20.
Oh, I love Sarr.
And Udogie,
he's 20.
I mean, they might both be coming to 21. I mean, they're phenomenons. These kids are phenomenons, and they're so young. And Sarr today, like, he can run forever. He's got such an engine on him. I remember when the Marine was with Conte before he died, our fitness coach out in Korea, and they said after doing all these massive runs up and down and pitch, believe it or not, the only 2 players that like were standing at the end were Gill and Sarr. You know,
I remember that preseason in Korea. It was very intense.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, though. So Son has 10 goals this season, right? So far, right? 10 goals halfway through the season. So we should be expecting at least a mere performance of that. It's 20 goals in the season. My point, I think, is keyed in the fact that you look at those 10 goals. The person who has assisted most of them is James Maddison, Pedro Porro, Manor Solomon, Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, and Kulusevski have only assisted 1 goal to Son each. They just don't find him like they should. Even Richarlison, if you remember the goals that the assist that Richarlison got to Son were all cutbacks. Take a guy to the byline, cut the ball back to the middle of the box.
That's a good point, Will, because like you look at other games, unlike today, when you see the stats at the end, and you're a stat man, I'm not. I'm more I'm an old school eye test man, right? Basically, really, before I go at stats. But when it says like in previous game, Son had 22 touches. This shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening when you've got a player that can actually play. I mean, I know
he's 0 touches in the box.
Again, had a couple of shots. So I ain't got a problem with that with strikers. You know, you do it. There was a couple of times they had shots, and I thought, because when it doesn't go in, you think, well, why couldn't you have done something better? But then you're being clever in hindsight, you know, which is easy to do. Now, Sonny, I'd give him another 3 or 4 year contract tomorrow, because he hasn't lost his pace. He beat Doco against Man City, and Doco's no slow coach, right? When he scored the first goal, and fans are saying, "Oh, he's lost his pace." He hasn't. And even if he does, under the Ange system, he can play further upfield. So if he's more near the penalty area of the opposing opposition. All he's got to be do is played inside into the box. He will still have that. He's not going to. He's a slight guy. He's not going to lose his pace anytime soon. I think we can get another 3 or 4 years out of him. I really do.
But I just need to interrupt because there's a little. Where are the Arsenal fans go? Are people in the chat blocking them?
No, I haven't
fuck
blocked.
Arsenal, mate. They ain't watching our stream.
No, I'm just saying because like I don't want mods in the chat blocking neutrals.
No, I didn't block anybody. I'm looking at.
So I can only see, unless I'm looking at the YouTube, I can only see the actions that are done by me in the back in StreamYard. But mods do not block neutral.
How many viewers have we got in the YouTube stream right now? I can't see it right now.
82, it looks like.
It's
Okay,
good.
nice.
It's good.
Yeah, at this time of night, it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's good. Yeah,
They're all busy getting the stones off the caves where they go to hide actually. So they're busy today.
Yeah, but I just didn't want because they were here and then they disappeared. So
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't like hearing all the positive Spurs.
Did you
Spurs
see
joys.
Did you see Ozil's tweet yesterday where he was saying about how the Tottenham bottlers are back and then he done a tweet back saying, "Oh yeah, the bottle Arsenal are back" when they lost to Villa last night.
Footballers would be wise to say nothing most of the time.
Just stay
They
quiet.
would be wise to do that because it's always going to come back to bite you.
Like that old saying says, "It's not over until the fat lady sings."
That's good. It must have run away. It must have been time for bed, right? It's time for bed for the babies.
But can I just say something quickly about Son?
Yeah,
Can I say something quickly about Son? Obviously, I love Kane so much. That's a signed Kane shirt right there behind me. I'm a very big Kane fan, but I've not seen Kane have this much togetherness and leadership as Son has with the armband on his left arm. I really don't. Son is showing so much leadership right now, and when Ange gave him that armband, I questioned it. I was like, Son ain't a leader, he ain't a captain, but he's proved me wrong, mate. He loves the club, mate. He would die for Spurs. I love the guy, mate. He bleeds Spurs and he gives it his all every game. And I like the way how they do the little huddle in front of the away fans when we go away, because I go to every game away as well. When they do the little huddle team talk before the game starts at away games, they done it at City last week as well. I absolutely love that, man. I really do. It gets us fans going, you know.
Yeah,
we never done stuff like that under King.
Yeah,
and you know he's going to be an ambassador when he finishes.
Well, I mean, because technically, I think that you had Lloris was the captain, right? Kane was never officially the captain; he was the vice captain. But you had Ben Davies came out today with a quote on Twitter. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but basically, he said he was talking about Son basically as a captain. He said Son has been he's an absolute leader. Like, he works his nuts off. Literally said nuts to the interviewer, right? Like, he works his nuts off for the club, both on and off the pitch, and he's a real leader, and is like basically glad that he's at the club and the captain of the club. So, and they've been playing together for a long time. So it's easy to get the respect of the new guys, right? But when you're winning the hearts and minds of the old dogs, you know.
One thing I want to say is that actually, I don't know if anybody saw that interview that Madison did. Mads was talking to, what is it, Ben Foster? Is he was most recently like the Wrexham keeper. He retired and stuff. He's like the site.
Oh yeah, Ben Foster.
Yeah, Ben Foster. Yeah, so Ben Foster went over to Mads' house and did a
they done an interview. I saw that on
yeah,
YouTube,
in that interview, he was asking about Sonny, and of course, like Matt's like, oh, Sonny's a great geezer, blah blah blah, great guy, great player. But he also said, he was like, he's not a Roy Keane, but he was like, no, he's louder than you think he is. Like he'll like yell at you, like he'll tell you, and he's outspoken. So
you could hear him today. I don't know if people noticed that or not, but it's when the beginning of the second half, you go back and watch the game. You hear a voice yelling, and that's Son yelling. Yelling on the pitch.
Because for those of you who
don't
really
see it on
watch
TV because he plays high up.
Yeah, people don't watch like the Korean games or anything. Like, he's yelling at the Korean players all the time as captain. So like, people are just like, oh, he's not going to yell, he's not going to be outspoken and stuff. That's not true. He's done it before. He's showing it now. He has no problem like yelling at players, hyping, basically talking to them, telling them what to do. It's just that, yeah, so he's not a Roy Keane. Like, so what? Do we really, I mean, I know Roy Keane has won all these, you know, trophies with, you know, stuff, but like he also was like missing UCL finals because he was tackling players and getting red cards
like,
sent
when
off
we were in our-
and
when we were
popping
in our
off with
down-
his teammates. So do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be an asshole to be a good
I
captain.
mean, look at Lionel Messi. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to be an asshole to be a good captain.
To be honest,
you don't have to be an asshole, but also too, like, what people don't realize is we don't see a lot of the things. Like, a lot of people you don't see some of the small details that he does. You don't know what he's saying in the dressing room. Like, people that go to games, they maybe see more than we do on TV, but a lot of the time we don't see on TV because the camera follows the ball, right? And once he's out of frame, you don't see what he's trying to do or who he's trying to holler. When you start watching a lot of the back footage, right? Like when the ball's out of play, because a lot of times on TV, you know, it goes to some replay or does something else, you're just not seeing it. And when you're in the stands, you're so far away that maybe you're not noticing the details. But you've seen a lot of those clips from reporters and sideline cameras of Son going in there and you know, getting people up. Come on, let's do it. You know, talking to people, putting an arm around people, hollering at people, but also showing them love too. Like, you know, trying to motivate them, going on. I just don't think people realize what he is or who he is, because everybody on TV, like, our impression as fans of Sonny is he's just a smiley, always happy son, right? And you don't see somebody getting in that face. But I remember when he was getting in fights with Hugo Lloris, right? So I mean, he's not always happy. You know, go lucky, Mr. Son. But what were you trying to say, Chris? Sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, yeah, the Messi situation is a big deal because, you know, people are in Argentina compared him to Maradona. It was a wholly different type of leader. But everybody in that locker room would tell you the guy in the locker room that would speak and everybody would be quiet is Lionel Messi, of course. You know what I'm saying? Until he won one, then the World Cup, then they realized that he was a leader. But yeah, you don't have to be not certain. I don't know if you have to be an asshole per se. Like Roy Keane is just getting into fights and not being smart about it. If you get rejected all the time, then you're not being a good footballer. You know what I'm saying? You need to be on the pitch. So I mean,
The
there's
reason
different
why-
ways to lead. You can lead, but with fear, or you can lead with admiration. Right? There's
The reason
multiple ways.
why I just want to say the reason why I bring up Roy Keane is because people are constantly bringing up that Roy Keane of being like, oh, you know, I'm more of like, I want a captain like Roy Keane. I'm from like old school, you know, like that kind of captain that's going to get in your face and yell at you and stuff, you know. So I'm just saying, like, that's not the only kind of captain, you know. And so that's why I bring up Roy Keane specifically, you know, is because he's been excited.
I don't know how the game come across to you guys on TV, but, you know, I love the tackling and the hunger to win back the ball. But the crowd was really roaring with the dummies and the nutmegs. I'm sure you noticed some of them, like, which got the team moving forward. I mean, yeah. So like, I mean, that got everyone roaring and singing, and the atmosphere was good. It was good.
And also part of being a good leader is asking for the ball when the pressure is, you know what I mean, when nobody wants it, and Son is never scared for the ball. You know what I'm saying? So that's a testament to somebody's personality.
Madison, the other, and Romero too. This Romero agenda is really starting to get on my nerves, almost to the point where it's like the Son agenda, right? Like today, people saying, like, I know people can say whatever, like rivals and people who want to see Spurs fail would say that's a red card, but that wasn't a red card at all. It was a yellow. He slips, he steps on the guy's ankle. Yeah, was it rash? Did he need to do it? No, right? But it wasn't like he was. It wasn't like the Matty Cash foul, right? That's different. The ball was clear gone. Bentancur was almost even turning away from Matty Cash, and he just chopped his leg out, right? That's different than going for a tackle and stepping on a guy's shoe, right? Like, come on now. It's football. It happens. If anybody's played the game, how many times? My son has no big toenails. None. Because they got him blackened so many times from kids standing on his feet that he literally has no big toenail on both feet.
Look, Romero, I said it in the watch along. Romero needs to be careful. You know, he's definitely has some times where it's like, ooh, that's a tough one. You know, you could get, you know, a card from that, and he needs to be a little bit more cautious on those.
He did get carded for it.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this particular time. I'm saying in general. You know, I'm saying in general, he has to be careful. He has to be more careful sometimes. But that's every defender. to, you know, that's every defender. And you know what, when you're playing next to defenders that are not as strong as you are, then you're having to go in and make those tackles. Like one of those was like, you know, because Davies didn't get, I mean, and I'm not taking knocks on Davies because he had a good game, but like Davies didn't get there, you know, and so Romero was like, all right, I gotta get there, you know. So I mean, that's what happens. We've seen Romero, you know, sometimes make mistakes, and that was like when he's playing next to Dyer. Like when you have, you know, we don't have a back line as much that can support you, then you're gonna make some tackles that are not gonna land in the right.
What did I get wrong, DeGroot? I said we would win.
He's a troll, bro. He's a troll.
No, but like, I mean, I'm just curious what he thinks I got wrong.
See, Kib, this is why you have 4 quality defenders, isn't it? Real Madrid, right? They cope with Sergio Ramos, who had more than enough red cards and sending offs. So Spurs should be able to do the same. But you make sure you have 4 quality defenders, because defenders are going to pick up yellow cards. They're going to get suspensions. So are midfielders, because it's the game's busiest in midfield. That is going to happen, right?
No, I didn't.
So that's why you need
I said if Son didn't start,
I would never give
Ask
up.
Chris, he was on the show with me.
Fantastic. I would never sell him.
Look at that comment. That comment down there. That guy was talking about Romero.
Sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
Going around and trolling him.
No, but so this one here, so he says, stupid challenge, but can we stop blindly? I'm not blindly defending Romero. I literally said it was a stupid challenge, right? Like he didn't need to do it. What I'm saying is that he slips. You can definitely tell that, right? He goes in, the ball gets kind of a little bit away from him. He slips. He tries to stab at it. He steps on the guy's foot. Reckless yellow card, absolutely all day, right? This one was a yellow. The one against Enzo, Enzo wasn't even a foul. First of all, second of all, this was the first time. The first time. Yeah, but that's not in the law, right? So following through has nothing to do with it being endangering a player or not. So all those things, studs up, where it hits you on the leg, none of that's in the law. So all of those things are just, you know, football culture-ish memes that people kind of justify the laws because they don't know them well. But someone who refed for 4 years, I know that has nothing to do with why you give a player a red card or not. But
okay.
But he doesn't even have. Romero has never even reached 10, like been suspended or had a match suspension for accumulating multiple yellow cards in a season, right? He doesn't even reach the top 10 of number of yellow cards received in the Premier League. That was his first straight red ever in the Premier League. Like people don't realize this, but they've got this narrative he's rash because he's a physical attacker. First straight red ever playing in the league. Right? He got one again in the Champions League. Huh?
He had 4 red cards.
No, so he's had 4 red cards. So last season he had a red card, but that was because for 2 yellows he got a sending off, right? Then in the Conference League qualifier he got sent off, and then the Champions League he got sent off against AC Milan.
He got the red against Milan, yeah.
Yeah, but in the league, in the Premier League, he has literally only missed 4 games due to suspensions in his entire 2.5 years at Tottenham.
But can I just say something? I love Romero. He's a quality centre back. Yeah, there's no denying about that. And I'm happy he got given the vice captain armband. You know, it has made him a little bit more mature, and you know, you can see that in his style of play when he's playing. But he has got that reckless side to him. You know, he's like a Sergio Ramos. You know, he does get a bit stuck in too much. He's a bit of a headless chicken. He cost us that game against AC Milan in the last 16. He cost us the Chelsea game last month. You know, if we had 10 men, we still would have done Chelsea, and it's stuff like that. You know, that it can cost you a season. You know, the vital points.
The thing is, I'm sorry. What was your name, brother? I'm sorry. I apologize.
Alex.
But the thing is that, like a gentleman in the middle was saying that you're gonna have, like, Sergio Ramos became the best center back in football for a certain period of time. Yeah. So he just had to be smart about it. He just had to be smart in a final, semifinal. You don't want him to screw up, right? In the Premier League match against Chelsea, I get your point, but it's still a Premier League match. You know what I'm saying? But if it happens in the semifinal, if it happens in the FA Cup final, if Spurs gets to it, you see what I'm saying? Like, there are moments that it just cannot. It's inexcusable. Like you have to think about how Chris is right here. Like, you got to think about how taking that aspect of his game makes him less of a player that you know, when he's not being rash, when he gets the clean tackles, right?
someone who's afraid of getting carded doesn't go in for those last ditch tackles that sometimes are needed in order to prevent goals that could have cost you points if you let them concede, right? It's a double-sided thing. Yeah, he cost us, a certain amount of points by being reckless, but how many points has he saved us from being reckless? Right? Like there's a catch-22 to these things. And for me, look, I think you need to, you could say that that's a negative side of the game, but it's a negative side of his game like it was for Pepe. It's a negative side of the game like it was for Cellini. It's a negative side of the game like it was for Sergio Ramos. But those guys are legends of the game as far as defending is concerned, right? Yeah. And so you kind of have to, that's why you've got Van der Ven, because he's not the rash one. He's not the reckless one. Van der Ven, by the way, up until today, had more yellow cards than Romero did. People don't realize that, but he did.
And Will, I think that you've hit the nail on the head there, because like if Van der Ven had been playing, Romero wouldn't have been over on the left to make that tackle. He wouldn't have been there to make that tackle. It would have been Van der Ven. And Van der Ven, like, although you'd think like Romero would be the calming influence for Romero, it is the other way around. Romero's got the experience to lead Van der Ven through games, but as he's learning the game. But like that would have been Van der Ven over that side. So like you've got to look at it this way. I don't know where Davies was at that particular time.
I think it was just I can't remember. So that particular one,
Davies got a good game too, though.
Davies had a decent game. I think Davies was higher up, got dribbled past, and Romero had to cover. I can't remember exactly, to be honest with you. I'm just waffling.
No, neither can I, to be honest. But I thought it happened more on the left side of the field.
Yeah, it did. It was on the left-hand
well, that's
side
exactly
of the
what
box.
I was just saying. I was like, it's because Romero, knock on Davies because he did have a good game, but Romero had to cover for Davies because Davies is slow. Okay, and that's just the way it is. Like, when he has to play, when Romero has to play with a partner like Davies or Dyer or Emerson, he has to do a lot more work. So when you have to do a lot more work and you're running around all over the pitch and you're having to, tackle after somebody else tackles or attempts to tackle and it doesn't work, right? Then you're looking at it from different angles and you're making, you're having to go in when you otherwise wouldn't, So I'm not blindly defending Romero. I already said he needs to be careful, But that being said, he has partners that aren't good enough and that bring down, his level and make him, have to go in for some of the tackles that, otherwise you would hope that he wouldn't have to go in for.
I know it's in the games where they're high pressure. We hadn't won for a while, right? So then he tends to be a bit more intense in his gameplay, or like when we're playing our main rivals or it's a big name that we're playing, not that Newcastle aren't a big name, but then he seems to go in there like he seems to be pre-match emotionally charged up for those games. And that's where Ange needs to come in and have a word with him. You got to control your aggression.
We're talking about aggression, though. I mean, they're like, I don't want him to calm his aggression. Right? He just needs to manage it to the point where it costs us the least amount of points as possible and gives us the greatest amount of benefit. I mean, like, I'm sorry, like people can say that that's rash, but his calmness on the ball. How many times was there a Newcastle player within a half a yard of Romero and his face is dead stone calm? Yeah. He dribbles slowly. Like he's not worried at all. The man fears nothing. And it's the fearlessness that gets him into those situations. And on the ball, there is right now in the Premier League, not a better center back on the ball than Christian Romero. I'm saying it right now with chest. On the ball, press resistant center backs, he is number one.
I mean, I agree. I mean, like when he is pressured by another player, he doesn't think, I'll kick the ball. He doesn't do it. He tries to hold the ball, and you see him like he turns his head to try to look around, like, who can I lay this off to? And like, no, I just think he's.
The other thing is that Romero is. How many times has he made clean tackles that are like everybody's like, oh my gosh, he saved
far more great tackles
asses.
than bad ones.
Amazing, like world-class tackles.
Yeah, and it's never spoken about.
So nobody is perfect. Nobody is faultless. Okay, so it's not like I'm saying that he hasn't made mistakes or anything, and mistakes that have cost us at times.
Yeah,
but he
no
also hasn't. He also has done things that are just like, 'no' other defender and center back has done for us.
Like so everybody like hypes up William Saliba, right? Says he's a Rolls Royce of defender, best defender in the league. And I know the Arsenal fans are gonna love this. They're gonna start chirping about my Saliba agenda. This is what I'm saying. Watch William Saliba. Go watch a highlight reel of William Saliba, and look at the amount of times that he just doesn't even defend. Right? Both of the two corner kicks that Luton scored against them midweek, he completely just sits there. Watches the ball, doesn't even make an attempt. Would you rather have a center back who makes the attempt and sometimes gets it wrong and sometimes gets it right, or a center back that just lets people drive past him because he'd rather just not put in a tackle than stop him? Isn't that why we all hated Eric Dyer? Because he always gave a guy a yard and a half?
No, he didn't.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? And that's the exact same thing with Saliba, but we got another guest in the back.
He's proactive rather than reactive. In Italy, he used to step into midfield, playing a back three.
Still does.
Step into midfield, right? He does that now for us, right? Now, listen, people have laughed at me in the past, and I've had a few pelters on my group. I actually think if you were playing a deep line number 6, you were desperate for someone like that, and you're worried about Romero's probably his lack of height or giving away a penalty, in the penalty area, I think he could play as a deep line number 6 in midfield. I think he's got that quality to do that. But, if others disagree with me, that's fine.
No, I mean, he's definitely got the ball handling ability and the passing range to do it. But let's bring in Mari backstage. A brother from another mother. What's up, Mr. Mars?
Doing good. I heard the Romero talk, and I just had to jump in because one thing I heard someone, I'm trying to remember, I think I know who said this, but they were like, oh, because when you bring up he's good on the ball, he's a good ball playing center back, and they were like, well, we don't really care about that. The number one thing is playing defense as center back. I was just watching a documentary about Roma when they won with Totti. They won their Scudetto in 2001. And they were talking about Capello's defense. And this is in 2001. Capello liked good center backs who played with the ball at their feet. They were very good because they played with 3 center backs and wing backs. Only 3. Fabio Capello, legendary coach. 3 center backs who had to be good on their feet. One of them being Argentina legend Walter Samuel, right? Because in Argentina, they want their center backs to be good on the ball, right? But when people have an agenda, right, they'll find any excuse, right? And I love the fact that he said that because Romero is the best at his feet as a center back and to beat the press, beat the resistance of the press. So, like I said, people will come up with agendas, right? Oh, defenders back there, you didn't have to worry about that. No, that's a lie. Defenders back then, they were tough, they were physical, they made tackles, and some of them were good on the ball with their feet. And with Romero, he is one of the best. Saliba, with his feet, I don't see it.
He's not horrible. He's not horrible, but he's nowhere near as good as Romero.
Yeah.
In fact, his passing. I've watched him play the ball out of play, completely unpressured twice in the last 3 games. Twice. He did it in the first 3 minutes against who'd they play through their 3 games ago? Can't remember. Oh, I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. And then he did it against against Villa. Played it out.
Yeah,
out of the back completely.
He made a mistake. Both center backs, him and Gabriel, and leading
actually,
to that.
Gabriel's been. I don't see. This is what I don't get from Arsenal fans. And I wish someone would come on and explain it to me. I think Gabriel's been far better than William Saliba this season. Far better. Yeah, probably. I think William Saliba's been a passenger this season, an absolute passenger.
I agree. I mean, I just think Romero's proactive, whereas like Saliba's more reactive. And he tends to
they say the opposite about him. They say the opposite about him.
He sits more back. Well, like I want my central defender to be aggressive and go for it. This is why Dyer's crap, because he's reactive, not proactive. It was like back
off. Did you see Romero nick the ball off Wilson before that? Did you see that one where he comes in, just nicks the ball right off of Wilson? He has this. When he's in control, he's so good at just nicking the ball off a guy in with like 8 inches of space to do it in. And then when he's out of control, it's, you know, of course, if he could get that part out of his game without losing the other benefits, that's the best case scenario for everybody. But then he's the best center back in the world, in my opinion, right? The fact that he is rash evens it out, brings it down a couple pegs to where you can't really go and say he's world class. Maybe as he ages, because he's only 25.
Say we should sell him. I mean,
No, so LA 007 like pretty much, I mean, settles the argument, right? Like whatever you want to say about Romero and everything, it's like what he's saying is exactly right. You know, he's like, deep down, we all know that Romero won't change his aggression. Thing is, he's more controlled this season than last. Without him, we are effed, whether you like it or not. Exactly. So I don't even understand I don't know why people are on his case, because at the end of the day, he's the best we got, and we are lucky to have him. Because that is a World
He's one of the
Cup.
Best that there is. That's
He's
the problem.
he's the best we got, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's a World Cup winning defender, okay? And
World Cup winner.
he's I mean, he's incredible. And so, you know, I don't even understand why we pick on our best players.
He chose us when we had Nuno as our coach.
Serie A Defender of the Year.
Well, we had Nuno.
Romero, he favours his country over his club. You know, he said he would have left if Conte stayed at Tottenham. You know, I didn't like that type of mentality when I heard that. You know, it did upset me. And
I didn't mind it.
No, but
now
he,
he's
no,
vice
no, no,
captain.
Alex, he didn't actually say that. He didn't actually say that he would have left if Conte would have left. He said certain things that he didn't like in his management, and like the kind of stuff that he said. He was basically saying that Conte was very upfront. He was very blunt with his feedback that he used to give to the
It was
players.
something like, it's good to be home. He said it's good to be home where I'm appreciated, or something like that.
Yeah, he didn't actually say that he would leave if Conte were to stay.
Look,
I mean,
Romero,
Richarlison said the same thing, by the way.
Yeah.
like, I mean, honestly, I agree with you, Will, in the regards that people need to just lay off of like this Romero agenda. I remember last season, our fans were like talking about Romero doesn't love the club. You know, he's just faking it. They had the audacity to be like, he's faking injuries.
Oh, yeah.
So that he can, because all he cares about is Argentina. He's faking injuries.
Playing the World Cup.
Yeah.
I still stand by that. I still believe that's true.
He didn't play the first game in the World Cup, so it can't be.
Yeah, I know. How is he faking injuries if he
Did
didn't
you remember
play
that
in the beginning of the World Cup?
It's like, guys,
Remember
let's
that
not play
interview?
me in the first
These
game.
Argentinians, they do care more about their country more than
Of
their club.
course, but there's a
It's
lot of
another
countries
thing.
like that.
It's not like he's faking.
Son's the same way.
But to say that he's faking injuries, okay, that is like an integrity. Like that is an attack on somebody's integrity. Like
I mean,
they
think
are.
about it. If Son
lying
cared
about
more
it.
about Tottenham than he did about the South Korean fan base, in that break where he was a little bit injured, he was kind of like had this niggling injury. He would have come off the pitch. Jurgen Klinsmann actually said he didn't even have to play at all, and he said no, he was going to play. Right, so. There's players. There's some players that their country means a lot more to them than club football. But for me,
To be fair,
if it was between the United States winning the World Cup and Tottenham Hotspur winning the Champions League, I'm going United States World Cup.
It's
Well,
kind
I'm
of
not sure
that's
that-
kind of the
Whatever
way
you want.
that's kind of the way
It's my country.
that's kind of the way it should be, man.
But he's not. He was
Club
not
over
faking
country any day of
injuries.
the week, boys.
Yeah, but you
No.
guys are English, though. There's a difference, though. For our country, we got so much to
How
prove
can
in
you
the
say we're
world of
English?
football.
You're trying to compare.
England.
Well,
Where you're from.
I don't think it's
Doesn't
a
make a
question.
difference.
Will, aren't you Scottish, Will?
It don't make a
Two
difference
things
where
I
you're
will say.
from, man.
I
Number
don't
one,
think it's a question of players wanting to play more for the country than the club. The club is
Adrian.
their bread and butter. Club is
Just
their bread
because
and butter. I just think some players are very proud to play for their country. I
Yeah,
like to
okay, so
think
here's the
that.
point for me, right?
Just because the standard of football in America club level is not as good as English level, you can't say, yeah, obviously you would say you'd rather your country win the World Cup. I get that.
Hold on.
but-
What's up, Mari?
Alex,
Mari's
Alex,
trying to
I'll
talk.
say this.
Hold on.
I'll say this. There's two things. Number one, the injury. CQ brings up an excellent point. He did an interview at the end of January, and remember he had to take it down from his Instagram, from his Twitter, because he was criticizing the doctors. Right? He did an interview in Argentina, and where he was criticizing the team doctors. He apologized by the end of the day. The reason why, because he called out the doctors, the same doctors that Conte, everybody else. Tottenham's team doctors are not that great. The second thing,
Yeah, our medical staff are shit.
as second as being a Alex, you don't know me. I'm been raised to root for Argentina. You have to understand, in some of these countries, like you grew up as a kid, you grew up in the slums, you grew up like especially in Argentina and Brazil.
Brazilians are the same way too.
Yeah,
Care more about country than club.
The national team is everything. And right now, currently, I have Brazilians. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I have Brazilian fans who can't stand Vinicius Jr. and the team because they failed. And they're like, they could care less what he does with Real Madrid. Yeah, that's Real Madrid. That's Spain. That has nothing to do with Brazil. And so he's getting a flack. If Vinicius Jr. does not win the Copa America that's going to be here in America, they're going to go after Vinicius' head. They don't care if he wins the Champions League this year with Real Madrid. It means nothing to an Argentinian. It means nothing to a Brazilian. For them, is to bring that home, to bring international trophies.
Hold on. For me, I don't think that it matters. Like if he plays harder or he cares more or whatever it is for Argentina, that's fine. I don't care as long as he plays hard for us. As long as he cares about our club. And he does. And he puts his body on the line all the time for our club. You know, a lot of our players do. You know, Sonny puts his body on the line. Okay. Yeah. He went into the World Cup with a mask. Okay. Because he put his body on the line for us going for a header. Okay. So it doesn't matter whether or not he cares a little bit more or whatever it is about his national team. He puts it on the line. So he did not fake an injury, and our fans were abusing him. They were abusing him on social media, calling him a fraud, get the F out of our club. We should sell you. You know, you have no right to be here. For what? For what? Like he didn't fake an injury. He didn't fake an injury.
He's never said Tottenham either, right? If he had problems, he had problems with Conte. And there's a lot of fans that had problems with Conte as well, right? They wanted him out of the club. And so if his problem was with Conte, like if you're think about the situation that we were in last season, the performance, especially around that time, the toxicity that was going around in our club at that time. If you're going to go away to play in the World Cup with your country who has a chance of winning it, or go play with Tottenham who didn't have a chance really of winning anything at that point in time, what would you be more excited about? Right? Like, I mean, like let's be humans. Like we all want to say, yeah, the badge on the front, and I am that kind of. I'm a badge on the front, not the name on the back kind of guy myself. Especially when it comes to club football. But even for me, like the reason why I would want the United States to win a World Cup is because of the amount of disrespect that American fans get in the global aspect of the game. That World Cup that I could point to would help garner, right? Nobody talks to Brazilian fans about knowing the game or not. Yeah, but nobody says Brazil fans don't have ball knowledge. You just simply say you're Brazilian and people automatically respect you. You speak with a British accent, people automatically respect you. If you're German or if you're Spain or if you're French, and you talk about the game, people respect you. People don't respect me because we don't have any heritage or history, even though we've, top 11 in the world, we've reached a semifinal, all of those things. Nobody takes our opinions seriously prima facie. They do after they get to know us, but not at the first time, not the first meeting, because we're American.
Will, I took you serious first time, by the way.
Right, but I mean, you have even lower fruit than we do. So.
I don't see UK fans disrespecting Americans for their take on football.
Oh, it happens all the time. You know how many times a day I'm called a yank? I mean, like, you know how many times a day I'm called the stupid yank? Doesn't know how to know football? That
is different because
that's not different.
Podcast, and you get in people's heads, right?
But it's more of a minority than a majority, though.
I don't know. Go watch me on the Football Terrace one day and see how many times I get cussed out in the comments about my hair, my national origin.
But for me, it's always been club over country. I think many other Spurs fans would agree.
Nah, it's never, bro. It's never.
For me, it means a lot more for Tottenham to win the Premier League than it does for England to win the World Cup. That's just
because
for Tottenham fans. Right? But if you talk about everybody in England,
we're talking in the world, right?
If you talk about everybody in England,
think about Korean Tottenham fans. Do you think they're more interested in Korea winning the World Cup or Tottenham winning the league?
Yeah,
Korea winning the
obviously,
World
because
Cup.
they're really here to support Son, and that's it. They don't care about
No,
Tottenham
they're
like that.
not. There's a lot that have been
Okay,
Spurs fans
that's
before
fair.
Son even got there, right? There are some. You're right. There are some
Yeah,
that
but
only
they're not as
support Son.
passionate as, say, me and loads of other season ticket holders at Tottenham. You know what I mean?
Don't
Going
be
week in, week
interested
out,
in
home and away.
me.
I don't know
No,
if you
come
said
on.
that.
You don't.
Right.
But you're just
Alright.
making assumptions now, okay? Because like,
not assumptions, it's facts.
P.O. Lee was a Tottenham player before Sonny was. He was Korean Tottenham player. Okay,
But
there were Korean Tottenham fans before Sonny. Okay, so
Yeah, but
to
it was
make
very
sweeping
few.
statements,
There's very few.
making sweeping statements about Korean fans of Tottenham or people who are fans of Son that's not, you can't make sweeping statements like that because not all fans are the same.
Yeah,
So
but
Scott, I love
if we
Scott.
didn't
He's
have
Canadian.
Son, answer this: if we didn't have Son, would you see this many South Koreans coming to every Spurs game at every
No,
single
absolutely
game?
not.
No,
Wouldn't.
but that doesn't mean that they're not a Spurs fan.
But that helps.
It doesn't mean that they're not. They would leave. They would for sure leave if Son was, gone. That doesn't mean that they can't support Son and also Spurs.
Because you still
They
have,
can,
you still
but
have a large.
what I'm trying to say is their main priority is supporting Son above Spurs.
No.
He just happens to play for
Hold
Spurs.
on a second. So I lived in
If Son
Korea.
went to Real Madrid, they'd go to Real Madrid.
No,
That's
I
what it
lived.
is to me.
I lived in Korea
I
for
happen to be
13 years.
sitting
Hold
with
on.
some
Hold on,
Australian women today at the game.
Hold on.
And they come because they love
Adrian, hold
Ange,
on.
they're like Spurs.
Adrian, I'm talking.
Sorry.
Yeah. I lived in Korea for 13 years, right? And so Park Ji-sung used to play for Manchester United, and that's the same Park Ji-sung that took him to the semifinal in the World Cup in 2002, right? So there are still a huge fan base of Manchester United, even though Son doesn't play for them, right? There's a huge following of Wolves fans because of Hwang Hee-chan, who plays for Wolves. There are Arsenal Korean fans. And this is the thing. A lot of people don't know the Korean culture. I watch a lot of Korean YouTube channels, and I can see a lot of the differentials. They have arguments just like we have, rivals, right? They have top 6 shows, big 6 shows. They got Norwich fans coming on. They are a lot more diverse in their footballing opinion than just Son's Korean, let's follow him. There are those that do that. I think it's the ones that don't really follow the game intensely, right? Because Korea, you got to realize too, this football isn't the biggest sport in Korea. Baseball is, right? So football and soccer is number 2,
Badminton.
right? And so you have your casual fan, right? Because of Son's celebrity status, will say, yeah, Tottenham. But they're really not even saying, yeah, Tottenham. They're just saying, yeah, Son Heung-min, right? But the ones that are paying thousands of dollars to fly over to England to watch a Spurs match, those guys are Spurs fans. They really are. They're not just Son fans.
They're not. They're paying to see Son. If Son's not in that Tottenham club,
they may
How
not
can you,
fly
Alex,
across the
Alex, how can
ocean.
you make? No,
They
hold
may
on.
not fly
hold on.
across the
There
ocean
are
to
those
see him.
if Son does not play for
Hold
Spurs,
on,
they're
hold
not
on.
spending these
No,
thousands to come and watch Tottenham.
Those fans do exist, okay, that are purely Son fans. They exist, okay? I'm acknowledging that there are fans who are Son fans. That being like exclusively Son fans. That being said, how can you make a sweeping statement about an entire demographic of fans, acting like every fan is the same?
Because before we signed
Let-
Son,
let-
I
let
never
me do
saw
a- let me
Koreans
do a
I
bit of
like
a-
Arlene. Never.
Let me do a bit of a hypothetical. Chris, how did you end up following Newcastle? You're telling us.
Okay,
the other day that-
Elias, we're not changing the subject, man. I'm the host.
No.
We're
I
talking about it.
want to talk
You
about
just
the same
changed the
thing.
subject.
I'm talking about the same thing. I'm talking about the
No,
same
you're not.
Chris, no, I am. Hold
What
on,
does
hold on.
Newcastle have to do with Son Heung-min and Tottenham?
Listen. Chris,
No,
how
I'm
did you
not
end
going to
up
listen because I
Because
want to bring this.
he's from Peruvian descent, and there was a Peruvian player who used to play for Newcastle, and that's how he ended up supporting Newcastle. Now that player is no longer there. Aren't you still supporting Newcastle?
That is true. Actually, that's a good point, man. You gotta give
Same
it
thing.
to like.
I started supporting Spurs in 2013 because of Clint Dempsey,
Yeah,
and I'm still a
Correct.
Spurs fan.
yeah. And
Right.
no, I mean, and
So-
that's how fan bases grow beyond their country. Son has brought out Spurs to South Korea, and that's okay. They follow because of Son. They also follow because of the Spurs. I mean, just because it didn't happen before, so what? It changed now. Be thankful because
You
Tottenham
still
fan
get
base is actually
and you can ask
broader and
Manchester
broader.
United fans. You still see Koreans in the at Old Trafford.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
What I'm taking issue
Party
with
songs
here
been
is
gone.
that
Do
it's
you
just
go to Old Trafford and you see that? Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
but like
ask 'em.
what I'm taking issue is that you're making a sweeping statement. Like it's like all fans that fit this demographic are that way. That's a sweeping statement. You can be like, there are some fans that are like that, but you're making a statement like, oh, they're not going to follow us as soon as, you know, Son leaves. These Korean fans are not going to follow us as soon as Son leaves. That's a sweeping statement. Is every single fan the same? Are you exactly the same as every single British fan out there?
I speak for myself only.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So how can you make a sweeping statement about an entire, you know, group of people?
Yeah, I'm just expressing my opinion. I'm allowed to express my opinion. No opinion is wrong.
I support Spurs because of Son, by the way, because he's quite popular in the Asian culture.
I support Spurs because my old man is Spurs.
Same.
Yeah, but
my stepdad's born in Tottenham. Couldn't support anybody else if I want to go visit my mother.
Let's
yeah,
say
but like, but that's the thing.
My passion for Tottenham grew because of Clint Dempsey, right? Like, when I started watching football in the 2002, 2003 era, right? At that point in time, I'm a little bit older. And not every game was on TV. Wasn't as like it is now. Where even you guys in the UK can't watch every game on TV. We can, right? So I have to pay though. I have to pay $1,000 a year to watch Tottenham play, home and away in every competition, right? So how much is a season ticket? About £1,000, right?
Yeah,
so
I pay £1,000 a year. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about the same. I have to watch the games at 7:30 in the morning. Son has to, or Cube has to watch them at 4:30 in the morning. You guys get to watch them in the afternoon, right? So
yeah, and I respect that massively.
There's a little bit of difference, but I can tell you right now, and I want to get to Tottenham, and I want to be able to watch games. Like if it didn't cost me, $3,000 to go over there and watch a game, I'd do that. I'd do it more often. But I can tell you right now that if Christian Pulisic or McKennie or one of those guys played for Tottenham, I'd make more of an effort because I have double the reason now, right? I love Tottenham and I've been a supporter for Tottenham for 10 years. But if an American player played there, like it did when it was Brad Friedel and Clint Dempsey, at the time I was too young to travel over. But if it was now and I have more disposable income, I would make more of an effort because not only do I want to watch my club play, but I also want to watch my countrymen play. You see the difference? And the Koreans are coming over. They may have started supporting Spurs because of Son. But probably you say out of all of the Spurs fans that watch it, I would say you're probably going to get 30-40% that'll follow off and go somewhere else. Just like the Jose Mourinho heads and the Conte Knights and all of those other guys that come and do it. But you also have people that started supporting Tottenham Hotspur because Harry Kane and now support Bayern Munich. Right? It's the same thing.
Nah, bro.
But for me, those are not real fans. If you go and support the team they go to,
they may still like. They may
you're
still
a fan
like
of the
Tottenham.
player and not a fan of the football club that we love.
My experience,
but not all. But my point is, you saying like that like an entire fan group is the same. There are some people that are like that, but not all Korean fans.
Like that.
Not all Korean fans are like that. Not all fans that are Korean that are Tottenham
I never said that all of them were like that.
It's a joke,
my experience was different to Will's. I mean,
so
like,
my mom says you could still visit me if you didn't support Spurs. You just have to sleep in the shed. Okay.
my experience was different to Will's. As a 5-year-old, I was on relatives' shoulders, being taken to Spurs games to watch the double side play. I didn't really have a clue what all the excitement's about. I was too young, but it was either be a Spurs fan or the orphanage, basically. Because that's what it was. I live 1.5 miles from the ground, so you were Spurs. Not like nowadays where like people can go glory hunting and pick successful teams.
Look, we're Spurs fans. None of us are glory hunters, right?
Well, what I mean by that is like you didn't have during my childhood.
Spurs fans being a plastic fan in the last 20, 30 years.
In a certain area, like if you was in Newcastle, everyone supported Newcastle. If you was in Liverpool, everyone supported Liverpool. If you was in Tottenham, Harringay, everyone supported Tottenham. It's not like that now. Through like Sky Sports and all that, kids that grow up, they want to support successful teams, don't they? So they'll cherry pick the team they want to support.
You know why? Because most of my mates, they live in Rochdale, Milnrow, they live in Manchester. And they always question me, why Spurs? Why Spurs?
Yeah.
And it's just like, and they respect me because they're like, yeah, you're not a glory hunter.
It's like Newcastle fans.
It's
unbelievable. We have American Newcastle fans.
I know, that's crazy, right? I mean,
right.
But my story with Newcastle was obviously Nobi Solano played there for a long time. He's Peruvian, one of the best Peruvian players to ever play, and the first one to ever play in the Premier League. So it was good for me. But then a few years ago, probably 3 years ago, is when I actually got heavy on Newcastle, like watching every single match, getting to know everything. Sorry, my kid is playing with a bottle here, but
You're good.
you know, so I got into all that, and people started questioning me because they thought I was becoming a Newcastle fan because of the takeover. That was before the takeover, or a year before, and so it's not. I don't also see a problem. Say Manchester City winning the treble, and all of a sudden they get more fans around the world. I don't see that as a problem. I mean, that's just growth. Why is it? Why is there a problem to become a fan of a successful team all of a sudden? Why not? You know what I'm saying? There's a reason how Manchester United got their fan base worldwide, because they started winning. They were the winners of for a long time in England. You see what I'm saying?
No, it was to do with the plane crash back in the 50s.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like,
before
Spurs, let me
United-
ask you though, Alex, though, and you can go with your point. If Spurs were to win the Champions League and the Premier League, 2 titles at once, you don't think that they will grow worldwide? Is that a bad thing?
Oh yeah, of course. Any club would.
Chris, question: why Newcastle? Marion and Will here, you're all great guys here, right? Why did you pick Spurs?
Oh no, easy. My best friend is a huge Thierry Henry fan, so he was an Arsenal fan, and we root for rival. We went to rival schools. We root for rival teams in America, and so for me, I was heavily at that time when he chose Arsenal, watching a lot of international football, mainly Argentina and United States. I was watching a lot of Serie A, and then individual players. I said this the other day. I'm surprised I didn't become a Liverpool fan, because in the late 90s, I really liked Michael Owen. Michael Owen was one of my favorite players, Van Nistelrooy, in the Premier League. I still didn't have a club. And then finally, maybe around 2005, 2006, I said, you know what? I need to pick a rival team. And I looked at Manchester United and said it would be easy, because I knew Spurs was Arsenal's, number one rival, North London Derby. Thought United, but I was like, no. I was like, that's too easy. And then like Liverpool. I said, you know what? Let me choose Spurs. And at that time, we had Berbatov, Defoe in the early years. And so I said, I'm going to pick Spurs. And at that time, I was Spurs, but I wasn't fully immense. But as the years gone by, Gareth Bale solidified that for me. And ever since then, since 2007, 2008, I've only seen one title. Because I thought there was more going to be coming. Because I said, all right, I could get used to this. And but no, it was just after Harry Redknapp and Ronde Ramos, I became a Spurs fan.
So why did you become a Spurs fan?
So for me, it was I started getting into the game from the national team, right? So I was I've been a USMNT fan longer than I've been a Spurs fan, and so at the time, I still actually kind of do this now. I just followed USMNT players wherever they're playing in Europe, right? Like Tottenham is the only team, like the actual team in any major sport, in any major footballing league that I actually support, right? But I'll watch Juventus, or I'll watch, I even watch Chelsea when Christian Pulisic, went there. I watch AC Milan now. I watch, I support my guys, right? My national team guys.
Yeah, cool. Cheers.
So before that time, so from 2002, I kind of did that. So followed around, and then my first son was born in 2007, right? So when he got older and he started kicking the ball, like in 2010, we went to, I don't know if you guys do this in the UK or not, but they'll have like World Cup watch-alongs at the World Cup stadiums in South Korea. So you'll get, 50, 60,000 people that'll sit in the stadium and watch the game wherever it's playing, because it wasn't played in Korea in 2010, right? But they still have the World Cup stadiums from when it was played there in 2002. So they'll get 60, 70,000 people to watch in the stadium and watch World Cup games. So we were going to those with my son, he's a little boy, 3 years old. I would take him to the park and we would play soccer. He'd kick the ball around, play football. And so that's when I started getting into the sport more, is when my son was born, right? Because it was, got it. I got to take them to sporting events. I'm not really into any other, not into baseball. I'm not into American football. I'm not into basketball. I like ice hockey a little bit, but I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to that either. But so in 2010, so then when I started getting in it, but at that time I was living in Korea, right? And the games there are like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, except for maybe 2 or 3 games a year at 8 p.m. It's like the early games for you guys. It's like 12:30 games, something like that. And so you can't really watch much. And then at this time, it wasn't like now. They would only maybe have like match of the day. There was only like 2 or 3 games a weekend that they would play in Korea, and it was always on super late at night. You might get a replay of Manchester United during the day because at the time Park Ji-sung was playing for him, right? So, so I could have ended up being a Man United fan, but I didn't. I just didn't like the vibe. I've always been kind of a guy that's just like, I don't like to follow the mainstream. You know what I mean? Like I don't like to follow. I'm not a crowd follower. And so when Clint Dempsey, who was my favorite player for the U.S. men's national team, left Fulham and went to Tottenham,
and Brad Friedel.
And Brad Friedel was playing there too. I was like, okay, wow. Like, so I started watching Tottenham games, and then my stepdad, right? I was asking my mom, I was like, who does Nick support again? And she was like, he supports Tottenham Hotspur. He was born there. So then there was that. Okay, my stepdad's British. He's English. Tottenham supporter. Dempsey, Tottenham, right? Boom, connection. Then when I left the United States and my son started playing soccer, I got even more into it, right? So when my son plays at a very high level here, he plays an ECNL level, right? Like one of his teammates just went to the U.S. men's national team World Cup.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent, mate.
Yeah. He played in the U17 World Cup, scored 3 goals for the United States.
Wow.
And he's only 15 years old. So
wow.
the kid's a baller. But so my son plays at that level, though. The kids from his team are going to play for the national team. Like that's the level that my son plays at. So so from that point on, as my son started getting more and more and more involved in football, I got more and more and more involved in football, right? To the point where I would say probably around 16, 17 season, I was like hyper fanatic, right? Like almost full kit wanker, hyper fanatic. Right? Like I would wear a Tottenham shirt with Tottenham track pants, right? Like that's how into it I got. And so then even more and more, further and further and further, deeper and deeper, right? So because it was hard to watch. You couldn't watch every single game when I was living in Korea. I didn't move back to the U.S. until 2015.
Chris, why Newcastle?
Because Novi Solano in the beginning, I always had a good, just wanted them to succeed. Novi Solano played there. He's Peruvian. I'm Peruvian, so
good player.
So yeah, I mean, again, the same thing with the Sun effect, And now I support Newcastle. I mean, I will say this though. Won't say the team, but I grew up watching a team in England, the big one, and I don't want them to do bad, but if they win, if they lose, it's kind of irrelevant to me. But I chose Newcastle over that team, so yeah, it speaks volumes of choosing a team that's haven't won in over 50 years. So yeah,
Yeah, well, at another time, I'll tell you how Newcastle and Spurs have got strong connections throughout history, through the ether of footballing history, how they were both pioneers of total football, which the Dutch team played in the 70s, right? But that's for another day. Alex, how did you become a Spurs fan?
So yeah, my dad is a Tottenham fan, and I didn't know any different. Got to support the old man's team, and I wouldn't know in any other way. And if I ever have a kid, I'd make them Tottenham. There's no other way that they would not support any other football club.
But if you make them do that, they'll do it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like, so I have 3 boys, and they're all of them are into the game. They don't even know other American sports. Like they know they exist, but they've never watched it on TV. Right? My sons have never watched anything but football on TV ever. Right? So I have one, right, that's a Tottenham fan. My oldest, he's a Tottenham fan, right? Like that's his team. And then my youngest one, just to take a dig at dad, right, wants to be something else. Like he doesn't support anybody else, but like he'll always, whenever we watch the game, whenever the 4 of us watch unfortunately because of the YouTubing stuff, I don't get to watch the games as often as I used to with my boys. Like we used to sit in the living room together and watch the games. I need to start doing that again, to be honest with you. But because I do watch-alongs now on the channel, which I'm gonna have to get out of doing that. To be honest with you.
He does it because he wants to wind you up.
Yeah, but he does it because he wants to wind me up. Like,
Yeah,
you guys are
no, I
going to
get that.
lose. But it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who we're playing. Like, it could be Arsenal, it could be whoever, but he just wants to, whatever the opposite of what Dad wants.
Yeah, no,
He's
I
just
get
trying
that.
to
I
take
get
the
that.
piss. Yeah.
It's an identity thing, isn't it? It's an identity issue, basically.
Yeah.
What's
But,
the
and
big-
my middle son, he's just kind of along for the ride. Like, he likes the game, he plays the game, but he's not into it. You know what I mean? So.
But yeah, when I was younger, I didn't want to support Spurs. When my dad was trying to make me support Spurs, we weren't a great side. We were a very bad side. And I said to him, Dad, I want to support a winning side. I said to him, I don't like seeing us lose every week. But yeah, as a young lad, that's what's going to happen. And yeah, of course, I'm going to stick on my dad's team. I don't know any different. There's no way that he would have allowed me to support anyone else, and I am very glad that I am still a Spurs
I won't
fan.
let him
I know,
either. They
I
either
know,
have no team or Tottenham. That's what I told
yeah,
him.
that's what it was. And I know we don't compete like City and Liverpool and win trophies, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I love this club so much, mate. If you cut me, I'll bleed Spurs. I'll bleed white and blue. I don't bleed red. And my loyalty for Spurs is undeniable. People close to me will say that to you. I go to every game home and away, and my whole life revolves around Spurs. Some people will say it's sad. Some people will say you've got very good loyalty. But what I wanted to bring up earlier was one of the guys was saying about how United, how did they get their fan base? United were a big club before they started winning all their trophies, and yeah, they're gonna get more fans the more trophies they win. But with Man City, they were a nothing club before this Arab takeover. They didn't have a big fan base. Now all of a sudden they got all these plastic fans. I was at the Etihad last Sunday. This time last Sunday I was there. How many empty seats did I see in this city end? So many, mate. Their away support is good, but at home, absolutely shocking. And us Spurs fans, we've got one of the best supports in the league. I'm not saying that as a Spurs fan being biased. We've got a very strong support.
Alex, Spurs fans were singing today like no noise from the Saudi boys because they're having a dog at Newcastle, right? And obviously Man City as well, who are going to get done eventually.
No, he doesn't. My son doesn't support Arsenal. It's just whatever team we're playing. So like today, if we were playing Newcastle and we were to sit down and watch it, he'd cheer for Newcastle, right? Just because he wants
how
to
old
see
is your
Dad.
boy? He must be very
12.
young, no? Yeah, he just wants to wind you up.
Yeah,
he'll grow out of it when he gets older.
Yeah, for sure. But even then, because like he's still a Spurs fan. Like when they're talking with their friends, like in a third party, like about football or something like that, they'll say Spurs.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But when it's in the house, because they don't really watch games unless it's a big game or something like that. My oldest watches games all the time. Like if I turn the TV on, my middle son's starting to get more into it now. He's 14. My oldest is 16, and he but the youngest one, but like for me, I would buy so my oldest son used to be a real big Ronaldo fan when he was growing up, right? Just those guys. So he'd follow Juventus. He was also a huge Paulo Dybala fan, and so like I bought Juventus shirts. I don't care how much they love that other club. I wouldn't buy an Arsenal shirt for Christmas or birthday, right? If you paid me, right? So they can't be fans of those clubs. Can't be an Arsenal fan. I've already told my kids, because sometimes my youngest son will say Arsenal to take the piss out of me, right? I'm like, you can go sleep outside then. Right? Like he's not staying in the house if he's supporting Arsenal. But
I know that, I mean, and fair enough, like to other football fans out there at different clubs, every fan base thinks their club has got the best fans in the world, right? I understand that, right? Because you love the club that you support. But I'll never forget what Jurgen Klinsmann said. He had 2 stints at Spurs, and he turned around, and this is something that will resonate with Spurs fans. He turned around and he said, like, there's something unique about this club. Now, he was a World Cup winner, and he played for Milan, Germany, and all that. Like, he said, there's something unique about this club. Now, you have to be a Spurs fan to understand that. It's just something in the ether that you can't necessarily put your finger on, but it is just unique. We are a hardened fan base. We're used to hard times, stoic, same as Newcastle fans are, Chris, mate, right? So, but
it's about.
yeah.
I always say this. I always say this. If you're Newcastle, you're not going like Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes can shoot it. a tremendous goal out of nowhere, they win or tie the match. We can't do that. No matter how much we try, we got to work hard from minute 0 to the 90th plus minute. That's just the way it is.
And I hope you get a trophy, because I think the last time you won something was about 1968.
Oh yeah,
I think.
you guys and we got a race going. You know who's going to be. I think when's the last time? Well, when's the last time Spurs won a
2008.
2008 was the League Cup. 1991 was the FA Cup.
Okay, the league.
Yeah, we've won 4 trophies in my lifetime.
Yeah. I believe that
Newcastle. I believe in mine.
I believe that Newcastle will win a trophy before Tottenham do. I really do believe that. I really do.
We got about. I think it's about time for we wrap it up for this evening. Any final thoughts before we hit the road and call it a night?
I know I came in late, but Will, I was your spokesman at the post game show, telling everybody that who says Sonny can't play on the left or eating crow. He's doing the same things today. He did the same things he did the first couple of games. The only difference is the players didn't finish their dinner. They didn't finish their dinner. Today they did, and so now Sonny can play the left, the center, and the right. He can play across the front. The difference is, well, the positive thing is, if we go for a striker in the January transfer window, right, now we have confidence that now we can put Sonny in the left. He doesn't have to play in the middle anymore if we get somebody. Because today,
yeah, we ain't getting anyone.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that again. But honestly, he's the only winger who could create. The only other person I felt this year tried was Solomon. He had 2 assists to Sonny.
Yeah, I like Solomon
because he put it to Sonny's feet.
Yeah.
But
he reminds me of Lennon the way he plays.
No enigma. There's no Arsenal fans on the panel, so this isn't Losers Fest. So
yeah. So those were my final thoughts. This was man of the match, easily Sonny, and definitely now people are eating crow. They're eating crow because they were saying Sonny couldn't do it. He should never play the left wing again. And it's just like, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Mr. Chris, everybody knows if you don't know, there's 83 watching you right now. I expect all 83 of you to go over to @TopFCTV on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel there. You'll be seeing me there. You'll be seeing Dietrich Kane has made appearances over there. Elias is over there sometime.
We can have maybe Alex if he decides to get back on
Mr. Alex, Adrian.
Of course,
whoever he was.
Murray. Now, Top FCTV is
Murray.
Top FCTV is a neutral channel, so we talk about all things Premier League. But if you happen to be a Magpie on the chat, you can go to the American Magpie YouTube channel as well. So that's only for black and white fans.
Chris, respect for coming on after a defeat. It's not easy.
I'm here all the
Alex,
time.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, Chris doesn't hide. He's not a hider.
We've met before. I'm not sure if we have or not. Mari, you're a legend anyway, and so is Will. You're all good guys. I mean, you're all well-intentioned, fans. So respect to you all.
The only people who hide are
Super Mod put the link for Goguma, the best mod on YouTube. Put the link there for Chris's channel there. And then Mr. Alex THFC, your channel on YouTube is Alex Kiriakou, right?
Yeah, Alex Kiriakou.
And I always thought you were Danny's brother. You guys
look
alike.
You look
alike. It's not even just you have the same surname, right? You look alike.
Yeah,
you look like you could be his older brother.
Lots of Greeks look alike, but yeah,
but you guys look a lot alike though. Like you literally look like you could be relatives though.
Yeah, no, Danny is a top guy. He speaks a lot of sense. He's Levy out just like myself, and
we're all Levy out here. I think. I don't think
that's good to hear, mate.
Yeah.
I think they should do the ancestry.com and check. They will probably be like distant cousins.
Hey, actually, I wanted to read Elias's joke that he put in my group chat about Newcastle. That was a good one. Where was it? Just before we ended up, man, because that made me laugh. What did you say, Elias? Let's see.
Finally, people laugh at my jokes.
Oh, is it? What's the difference between
You found
onions
someone.
and a Newcastle? It says, "What's the difference between onions and a Newcastle supporter?" I cry when I cut up onions. That wasn't a good one. That was
But can I just say something before I leave, just to top
Sure.
it all off?
yeah, man.
I never want any Spurs player to do badly. You know, I want everyone to do well. And if you see me on my Twitter, or my at is there. If you see, I did criticise Richarlison for that miss against West Ham on Thursday night, and I said, "This guy ain't good enough, mate. 60 million. It's
already.
probably one of the worst signings we've ever done in our history." And yeah, he scored 2 days to go. He proved me wrong. That's good. I want him to prove me wrong, but at the same time, you know, the first one was a tap in, and the second one wasn't a hard finish. You know, but yeah, at the end of the day, I want everyone to do well. I don't want anyone to struggle. I want what's best for the club, and I'll still stick to my statement. I still don't think Richie ain't the right player for the club, and I do believe we do need to move him on in the summer. But what I want to say more positively, I want to say Andrew's a fantastic manager. He's the best manager we've had since Pochettino. He's probably playing better football than
I think he's
Pochettino
better.
did. And, you know, as much as we are Levy out, the guy, he's got to back him in January. He has to, man. I know how hard it is to get good signings in January, but you got to back him, man. And he can build something special at this football club. He really can. You got to get a minimum of a centre-back and a striker. Well, if you can carry on playing Son striker, then get me a top quality left winger in then. And because I know how this story goes, I know how Levy works, I know how he operates, it ain't gonna happen. You're gonna get a couple loans at best in January, because you know how tight he is. He like to save his money, and unfortunately for me, I think, you know, it's gonna end up in tears like it always is. Another manager with his hands tied behind his back. Jose was failed, Conte was failed. What makes you feel like it's gonna be any different that Andrew will get back then and bring success to the club? And it is such a shame, because when we done that Spurs fan forum a couple of months ago, Levy was saying, "Oh, we got our Tottenham back," and everyone was clapping, and people were going whoop whoop. Oh, it's absolutely embarrassing, mate. I could never be in the same room as that geezer, and I really hope he does get his finger out and changes his ways, because Ange can do something very special at this football club, and if Levy don't change his ways, I will never forgive the guy, because it's been 22, I think 23 years now, too long ENIC in charge, mate. And for me, I don't think I will ever see success at this football club until Daniel Levy is gone. And that's all I got to say, and I hope you lot agree with that as well.
Well,
Alex,
I hope you're
well
wrong.
said.
I hope you're wrong, but
Thank you, mate.
I think you're right. So, you know, I just think that, like, for me, I think the difference, and I could be naive in this, and I could be having the wool pulled over my eyes again, like I did with Conte, and maybe even a little bit like I did with Jose. But I think Daniel Levy's fallen in love. You know how the media's kind of fallen in love with Ange, right? And there's all this hype that we haven't seen before. Like, I never saw this hype over, like, the Fonz wasn't making Twitter posts about Pochettino. Right, you know what I mean? Like, there's some kind of weird vibe around Postecoglou that I haven't never seen at Tottenham Hotspur before, especially for a manager who's pretty much was unknown to the majority of the footballing world before he came. But what I'm saying is that, you know, there weren't British pop stars, you know, singing the songs that people switched over, you know, used the melody from their songs about Pochettino. It just never happened. I think Daniel Levy's fallen in love with Postecoglou too, and I hope that him. Right, having a man crush, like, he gets on players. We all know Daniel Levy's got, like, he thinks the players are his friends, his puppets, right? Because he doesn't have friends in real life, right? So he kind of latches on to these people, you know, and holds them with the club for way too long. Like, they're his buddies, they're his mates, you know. I think he's fallen in love with Postecoglou more than he's fallen in love with any other manager over the last, 5 to 6 years. And I hope that difference leads him to pull his head out of his ass and buy some players in January.
I really don't think he will, mate. I know how this guy operates. I don't think he'll change for anyone. And he fell in love with Pochettino as well. And how did that story go, you know? He could have taken us to the next level.
To distract him. I think at that time he had the stadium to distract him, right? So, but that's all in the back, in the rearview mirror now.
Excuses, man. All excuses.
Yeah, but I want to give him the opportunity one more time, because at this point, with what we saw in the first 10 games of the season, what we're even seeing now with all the injuries they had and the performances that are going on the pitch, even with dross players, if we don't see Daniel Levy do something this January, then I think the rest, because right now us Levy outers, us purple and golds are a minority, right? We're a loud voice in the minority. I want to see us become the majority if he doesn't back Ange this window. So I want to give him the opportunity.
Right. I'll tell you how I
Yeah,
see this.
that's when I'm
right?
gonna mud
Now,
people on you.
Say what?
We've had a great result today, right? Against the top team, who are probably not at their best, right? Now,
Yeah, a lot of injuries.
it worked with Sonny on the left. Now, we've seen it when Sonny's worked to the left, when Sonny's worked as a 9, and when it's fouled, when he's been in both those positions, right? So what we need, if we're talking striker, we know we want a centre-back, right? We know to improve defensively. So what we need is a striker who can complement Son in the way that, like, they can interchange. So during a game, if Son's at 9, ain't working, he can go out to the wing, and the striker can come into number 9 position, or vice versa. That's what we need. I think the perfect player for that.
That's a unicorn.
Yeah, I think that would be Vlahovic, because it doesn't always work when Son's a 9, because he gets bullied and pushed out.
Vlahovic play
And
on the wing,
sometimes
no?
when teams play a low
he's a
block,
striker.
you need the physicality of a Richarlison type player in there, right? But like, this is only my opinion. I think someone like Vlahovic would be perfect.
Vlahovic would be great because I think he's a great striker, but he's a big physical center man. Like he doesn't play on the left, so he can't switch out to the left.
Will. He can break for midfield. He can take a player on and score a goal and beat them. He can go wide. He can go centre.
Yeah, but he'll go wide like Harry Kane.
He ain't got any pace. He's got no pace.
My opinion, Will. I think he's quality.
He's got no pace.
Rather than
He's slower than Son.
untried like
He's slower than
Jimenez,
Kane. He's slower than Kane. He's only a striker, mate. He can't play anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't think like he'll
Vlahovic.
go wide. He'll go wide like Harry Kane
but
used to,
that's
but
what
Harry
you
Kane
need,
can't
man.
play on
Yeah.
the wing either.
And
If
he's
you
not
put Harry
wide.
Kane, if you started Harry Kane on the left wing, he would be like a 4 out of 10.
But
Right,
why
Harry
would
Kane can't
Vlahovic
play left wing.
leave? Why would he leave Juventus for Tottenham? Juventus are sitting top of
Well,
Serie A.
Apparently he
right now.
wants to because he
The
doesn't
money
like the
and
manager.
this
So him and what's his name? Ancelotti, right?
But his wages will be so high, and we know Tottenham don't pay high wages.
No, they're not. Juventus don't pay the wages Spurs pay. He might
Yeah,
be.
he's on
he'll
the
be on
side.
less
So
than
So
Son.
the rumors,
He'll be on less
we
than
are
Son
linked.
at Juventus.
We are linked with Vlahovic right now. There was a recent one that
Well,
was
I
linked,
think
but we
it's true.
wanted
Yeah,
it for
I think so.
68.5 million, and then they wanted to give him about
would take that.
265,000 a week. But that was
Yeah, Levy-
double. That was double what he was making at Juventus. So he's not making that whole lot at Juventus.
Levy ain't paying that, mate. He's not paying that, man. Come on, boys. He's
No,
not
let
paying
me
that.
check Vlavic's salary.
It's not a question of, right, what fans need to get in their heads is, right, okay, we've spent 350 million, 400 million
Spent
recently
60
on
we
players
spent
over
60
the
million
last
over
2
Charlton.
seasons, right?
We spent half the
Yes.
Kane money
Right.
on Brendan
Yeah.
Johnson.
Now,
Yeah, that was a mistake.
You do not.
Embarrassing.
This is
Embarrassing.
the thing that, like, through the media carries on like, oh, this player's 60 million for Richarlison. So bang, we go, Evan, here's the 60 million. It doesn't happen that way. You put, like, if the player's on a 5-year contract, which if you're going to pay that much money for a player, it's going to be at least 5 or 6 years now. 6 years seems to be becoming the norm, right? You put like 15 million down, you go, here's 15 mil, then we'll pay the other 45 mil off over the length of the player's contract, or if it's 6 years, over the 4 years of the contract.
But
And the
Vlavic's
same when we
got
sell a
age.
player, it's the same. They go like, oh, spend the Kane money. Hang on. We ain't getting that 80 million for Kane, 70 million, 60 million, whatever he got for him. We ain't getting it in a lump sum. It doesn't work that way. It never works that way, right?
Yeah, but you can
You get
spend
a
because we
down
wouldn't pay
payment.
that way either, right? Like, so this is the thing. We don't pay that way either when we buy a player. So
No,
even
we
though we
don't.
didn't
We
get
don't,
the whole
Will.
Kane money in one lump, if we bought a replacement, we wouldn't pay it all in one lump either, right? It's going to be amortized the same amount of time. But the only thing that I think makes the Vlahovic one more plausible is he's the right age for the Daniel Levy magic number, right? He's only 23.
And he's like Holland.
How old is
He's
he?
like
How old
Holland
is
as
he?
well.
23.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know
he's
that
only
young.
23.
Yeah, he's the right
Yeah,
age.
he's young.
And she likes
No.
younger players.
And he's like Holland as well. He will like really score
But
goals.
would,
No, he's
would
not.
Son would Son accept playing on the
Will,
left?
when he
He's
was at
thriving in the
Cortina,
middle right now.
I
Will
would rather
when he was
personally
at,
buy a
Nine.
winger.
I
But-
think they would be perfect
Yeah.
together.
Buy a top left winger and keep Son central.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to replace Son anyway, right? So, and I think Son's game adapts to in the
Yeah,
middle.
we may end up with Jota on loan.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that-
for me,
that
Jota alone
Jota
is not enough.
He's decent. He worked under Ange.
Vlahovic has had quite a bit of an injuries though. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 injuries in the last 12 months. Not long ones, but short little niggling ones that have
But
caused him to miss quite a few
He's
games.
a natural goal scorer, whereas Richarlison,
Yeah, he's big.
look, I'm pleased he
I
got the
wouldn't be-
goals today.
We need a goal scorer.
At Tottenham while they're within our squad.
He's
I'll
a
always
goat,
back
actually.
him. I won't throw him under the bus. But look, I mean, I've looked
I really want Tony. I want
He has
Tony so
played
bad.
like
He's
21
not.
games.
He's
I think
not
so.
a natural finisher. He's just not good enough.
Who?
And neither's Emerson either. He's
I
got,
really want Tony.
Not got the technique.
Nah, Tony
Tony's
has their.
good.
Tony is
If
not
we're a
as
serious
better than
football club,
Vlahovic.
If we're serious, we're
Tony's-
getting Tony.
Tony's a
Tony's
better goal
small.
scorer than Vlahovic. I'm sorry, he is. Vlahovic.
Tony's better-
You're just
Tony's
wrong.
better than
Vlahovic
Vlahovic.
has got less goals than Son this season playing for Juventus.
Well, Richarlison's got 4 goals. That's 1 goal more than he got last season.
Richarlison has almost as many goals as Vlahovic does this season. Vlahovic has only got 5 goals this season in the league, right? And he's played 13
Really?
games. Yeah.
Ah.
He's only
Will-
started 9, though.
I'd
He's only
rather
started
take
9.
him than gift Auburn.
I'll tell you
Will-
now,
Will-
Levy ain't spending 60 mil on Vlahovic,
Will-
mate, especially if he's
I
scored 5
can't-
goals this season.
I can't prove it statistically, but I think when Vlahovic comes to
You feel it in
Spurs
your
and-
bones, Elias?
and I feel it in my bones. And when Vlahovic
There you
comes to Spurs and when Tony goes to any other club like Arsenal or even Chelsea, let's just say, you'll see the amount of goals that Vlahovic scores and the amount of goals that Tony scores. You'll see the clear difference there. Vlahovic is just at the wrong club right now. That's the only thing. Once he comes to Premier League and he plays for Spurs, you'll see him banging goals like Holland does.
How's he
Holland
going to
will-
bang goals
I
in
think he's
a
less
harder
of a
league?
risk.
Madison
Premier
will provide him the balls. Madison and Kulusevski.
We do create a lot of chances, right? So
Premier League-
somebody like, for instance, Richarlison has missed. I think he's missed 5 big chances this season, plus the 4 goals that he scored. He should be on 9 already this season if he finished his lunch, right? And that's just the big chances. That's not the half
Spurs have missed
chances.
All
20
his butts
big
and maybes.
chances before
All
the
his
game.
butts and maybes. But if we had somebody, because like for example, if Harry Kane were playing with us right now, he would have at least 10, 12 goals, right?
He would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
so I mean,
But the
that's
Premier League's harder than Serie A. Vlahovic ain't
right,
gonna fight in the
100%.
Premier League.
But I'm saying, I definitely think Vlahovic is an upgrade on Richarlison, for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. That's not hard, is it?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
he's not
And
the
Son's going to
best.
beat his 17 goals when he shared the golden boot with Salah. He's going to beat that this season.
Chiesa,
Yeah,
Chiesa,
He will,
Is
he
when he
will,
shared
he
it
will,
outside.
he will break the records. If
Yeah,
Vlahovic
he can
comes
stay
here,
fit.
he will break all the records right away.
Vlahovic
No,
right
he's
now, and
He's not Erling Haaland.
Federico
Sorry.
Chiesa.
Guys,
Those-
I can spot the talent from far.
They
Yeah,
don't
just like
they don't
you and your agenda with
they don't
Eric Dyer
like-
being the best center back at the club. All right, mate. That's it. But that's all we
No,
got for
Eric Dyer
tonight.
wasn't a talent. Eric Dyer is not young.
Let's
gotta get
let's
rid of
end this
10
one out
players.
tonight. Let's end this
Time
one
for
out
bed.
tonight. Thank you guys very much for watching the show. All you guys fans at home. Thank you guys
Cheers,
for
bro.
smashing that like button, subscribing, doing all that stuff. We will be
Thank you,
back
boys.
tomorrow. I'm talking right now, Elias. I'm trying to do my outro. Right?
And you cut me in the middle.
Because we're ending the show. That's why I cut you off. It's my
Whenever
show.
I'm about to land minerals, we'll cut the show.
Good to meet you
And
guys.
we're
Good
gonna
to
land
meet you.
minerals right there. All right,
Yeah,
so
you too,
guys,
mate.
we're
Nice
trying
one.
to we're gonna end the show now. Thank you guys very much. Thanks you guys for coming on the panel, coming on the show tonight. We appreciate it. Folks at home, like, subscribe. We do have a show tomorrow. It's our Monday night podcast, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time or 8:30 p.m. in the UK. Do all that great stuff. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. Stay strong. Stay Spurs. Big up Hungman's daddy. We're out of here.